Thank you, Craig. Thank you very much. It's such a treat to be with you all here today, and to share with you, and to have such great participation in this place. What a great place. And the ferry ride this morning was wonderfully refreshing and good, and it's great. These kind of island places are just really unique. Whether you get out onto British Columbia, or done some things on Martha's Vineyard, and you all would enjoy that community there, I'm sure, very much. So I've been asked to talk a little bit about Holy Cows and Hog Heaven here today. That was the title of a little book that I wrote several years ago, called the Consumer's Guide to Buying Farm-Friendly Food, or something like that. What the subtitle was, I can't remember them all now. That many, they kind of all run together. And but what I wanted to do, I had so many people who, when I talked about my relationship marketing and know your farmer, know your food, years and years ago, people would ask, well, but I don't know enough to know whether a farm is good or not. I mean, how do you know if a guy is a charlatan? I mean, just because you put a backwards collar on a guy doesn't make him, just. There are plenty of backwards collars guys that are run off with his church secretary, right? So how do you know? How do you know that this is a real farm and it's real food and it's all this stuff? So I wrote this little book, Holy Cows and Hog Heaven, to kind of introduce all the parties to come to the table here. And eaters have problems. Farmers have problems. I mean, the eater's problem is that we're not very innovative. I mean, Prince Charles says we define culture based on religion, architecture, and diet. Well, if that's the way you define culture, what it means is we pretty much like our architecture, our religion, and our diet, right? They're hard things to move around. And we have so many people today who have grown up on TV dinners and Velveeta cheese and monosodium glutamate and high fructose corn syrup, Snickers and M&Ms and Twizzlers and Cheerios and Wheaties and Kellogg's Rice Krispies, that when we ask to actually get, a piece of arugula from the farmer's market, arugula, bok choy, what is this stuff? These are weird things, and then you say, and actually get in your kitchen. What kitchen? Where's the kitchen? No culture's ever spent more money remodeling and techno-gadgetizing their kitchens with sexy gadgets and been more lost as to where they are. And so we understand these eater problems. What do you mean I can't get strawberries in January? Eating seasonally. And so, I don't want to get into my talk this afternoon because I want you all to come to that talk and not overlap with it. But I'll be talking a little bit about this seasonal, this celebratory seasonality as opposed to hating seasonality, because it is critical that we get in that vein. So eaters. Eaters have problems. We tend to be routine. We like what we like. We don't want to do much experimentation. We want to eat kind of what we grew up with. We don't have time. We have soccer games to go to. We have country club golf courses to go to. We have, the opera to go to and theater, and got the TV and the soap operas to get back to. And we got things to do, We can't be involved with cooking food and being involved with these domestic culinary arts. My goodness, that's And so we have problems. And so into that, I wrote the little book to introduce eaters who I appreciate have these problems to farmers who also have problems, and there are wonderful farmscapes being created by farmers who actually don't view animals as just, and plants, the life's biology, as just so much inanimate piles of protoplasmic structure to be manipulated however cleverly humans can imagine to manipulate. That's the way our U.S. views life. When people ask me, well, what's the difference between, your kind of farming and the other kind? And if you want to know that, you get my book, The Sheer Ecstasy of Being a Lunatic Farmer. That really will bring you up to speed on what the difference is. And it's a fun book. It's my funnest book to write. But the difference, a lot of people try to describe it by scale, big or large, or try to describe it, by corporate or family, or, different ways. My description, I've kind of come to this recently, I describe it as the difference between the way you look at life. Is life fundamentally mechanical or biological? That's the difference. Because, you see, our culture views food as fundamentally mechanical. They do. I mean, nobody, can you imagine a land-grant college doing a research project on how to make a happier pig? No, it's how do we grow it faster, fatter, bigger, cheaper, right? And if we don't like the way it is, we can take some, some DNA out of a squirrel, and some out of a human, and some out of a tomato and a pepper, and we'll just rearrange the genetic structure, and we'll make something else. Okay, just like we would rearrange, the extruder in a copper widget manufacturing facility and make a different plumbing part instead of this valve will make this valve. Instead of making this plastic doll, we'll make this plastic doll. Just like it's so much inanimate stuff. Well, there's a major difference between machinery and biology. The big difference is that machinery can't heal. If you leave here today and you get in your car and you head down the road and you hear this terrible thump, thump, thump in the right front wheel bearing, you can get out of your car. Don't do like a friend of mine. I said, Jim, what do you do when you hear something funny in your car? He said, I just turn up the radio. No. But you can walk around to that front wheel bearing, and you can look down at that front wheel bearing, and you can talk to it all day. I'm so sorry I didn't lubricate you. I'm just so sorry you got short of grease. Can I give you an extra packet of grease here? Put it in there. Do you need some rest? Do you need a little bit of rest? We'll let you rest here for a day, 2 days. Maybe you let that wheel rest for 5 years. You can dump a barrel of oil and grease in it. What's going to happen when you get back in the car? Thump, 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 thump. Doesn't heal, does it? But life can heal. Biological beings can heal. And boy, we better be grateful about that. Truth spans all facets of life. When I say heal, I don't mean just heal physically. I mean, aren't we grateful that we as living beings can forgive one another when somebody abuses us? That we can make things right. My dad used to say every time we get out, start with the chainsaw or the tractor or whatever, just remember, kids, machinery doesn't forgive. When you handle that machine in a way that cuts your arm off, that machine doesn't care a lick whether you handled it correctly or not. And that's the difference between biology and machinery.